Welcome to GovEd Talks. I'm Tom DeBrittany, a research fellow at the Performance Institute, and today I'm going to talk about the need to develop a change-ready workforce. The big challenge for today, for organizations today, is that the pace of change and the need to react and respond to that change is increasing and causing issues on a daily basis in the operational environment. You may have heard the phrase VUCA, which stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, as being typical for any day. The work is changing and people need to respond in a way that furthers their performance but also furthers the aims of the organization. Changes normally are happening at the organization's edge, and the first people to uncover what's changing and to know more about the diagnosing of the problems are the frontline employees. So we want to make them change ready. In typical organizations, employees are very comfortable with what they've been doing for a long time. They're comfortable with the status quo. They like to stay in their comfort zone, and usually are waiting for direction from above as to what they can do different or what they're allowed to do different. They worry about having the permission to take initiative themselves, and so in a lot of cases they don't. This actually is kind of a hidden burden for management because they're the ones who have to diagnose the problem, decide what to do about it, and then issue directions to frontline employees. And that's not the most efficient way to deal with this. In the future, or in an adaptive organization, the employees embrace the idea of change and see it as a way for them to develop themselves. They're motivated to understand what the change is, to understand its impact on the organization. They're fluent in what the organization is trying to achieve, and they understand how the problem or the change is going to impact the organization's purpose and also their own purpose. They also see it as a way to learn more about their job, to develop their mastery in what they do, and to perform better by being able to overcome changes as they need to. What we're going to talk about in the next few minutes is what your organization can do to help your employees develop adaptive behaviors that allow them to respond to change as it happens, to be dynamically responding to change. And that we're going to talk about three different areas. One is employee engagement, being able to have motivated employees who are engaged with the work they do. The second is self-directed learning, where employees are not waiting to be told what they need to learn, but are actively involved in learning what they need in order to perform well and to grow in their careers. And finally, a future-based performance evaluation approach that focuses more on the development of employees than the judging of past performance. Starting with engaged employees, what we're looking for with engaged employees is maximum engagement on two levels. One is their satisfaction with their job, the things that allow them to say, I'm doing good work, I'm improving myself in my work, and I'm satisfied doing this work. We'd like to get them to the maximum level of satisfaction. The second part is their contribution to the organization, their maximum contribution. What they do that helps the organization, and the balance of the two of them represents maximum employee engagement. It's kind of a disheartening fact that in general, surveys have shown that 34% of workers are actually engaged in their work. And that means there's 66% of the other employees who are either not engaged or, even worse, they're actively disengaged. So we would like to change that situation and find a way to move employees more towards the maximum level of engagement. A highly engaged workforce increases innovation and productivity and bottom line performance, because they are actively looking to diagnose problems, respond to change, and improve performance. So the key levers for trying to understand your employees and get them to become more engaged, or provide the conditions for them to be more engaged, is to understand what motivates each of your employees, to understand what their personal purpose is and how it aligns to the organization's purpose, to allow them to pursue mastery in what they do through development activities so that they get better at their job and they can see their future in their career. And finally, to affirm that they are contributing to the organization and that they are doing a good job, as well as performing up to the standards for the organization. The second point we're going to talk about is self-directed learning. Employees who are self-directed have a high degree of curiosity about the work that they do, and they want to improve, and they want to solve the problems that become obstacles for them. So in order to have self-directed learning employees, you want to first let them know that that is an expectation of the job that they do, and that they're able to take the time to learn more about the work they do, to pull learning out of the work they do, and to confer with their colleagues and other professionals on how to do their work better. In order to do this, they need the time, they need opportunities, they need resources that allow them to pursue that on their own without having to ask permission or to wait for a manager or supervisor to tell them how to do that. They want to plan and evaluate the instruction they get. They want to leverage the experiences that they've had in the past as the basis for their new learning. Even their mistakes in the past can be used as the basis for new learning. They need opportunities that are relevant to the work that they do. Learning opportunities, it might be a stretch assignment, it might be a detail to some other kind of work, but something that relates to the work they do or the career that they have in mind for themselves. They also need to be more problem-centric or problem-oriented than content-centric, the learning opportunities. So if you think in terms of the old training paradigms of tell them everything and make sure you tell them, tell them everything you can, rather than here's what you need for your organization, for your task, in order to get the job done. Learning opportunities need to be work-focused. One other thing that's really important for the development of an employee is to clarify what good performance is for that employee, to make sure that both the supervisor and the employee understand what the task is and what good performance is, so that it isn't a subjective judgment at some point in the future. The last point for building employee engagement is the development piece. We've just talked about the employees learning, and we want to make sure that instead of, we want to perform evaluations in a way that focus on the development of the future employee rather than the performance of the past employee, or the employee's past performance. We want to make sure that they understand what the good performance is, that they understand what they know and don't know, so that they can chart their own course to development opportunities that allow them to overcome any deficiencies or allow them to grow into their job. And we kind of define performance in terms of their ability to do mission critical jobs with speed and efficiency, quality and depth, and trust and consistency. But while doing their work, they, to be engaged, want to also have autonomy to do the work as they see fit or as they've learned to do it, to also master the work that they do and to get affirmation that they are doing a good job. So just to recap, it's important to think of employee engagement on an individual employee basis for supervisors and managers to get to know their employees, to know what motivates them, to know where they want to go with their careers, to evaluate their performance in terms of what they can develop into, rather than looking backwards at past performance and finding a way to blame or punish. So, in order to help your workforce develop that ability to change and their ability to engage with change and their enthusiasm for responding to change, think in terms of those three elements. The employee's engagement level, the employee's ability to learn, and the employee's development for the future over the past. If you want to know more about how to do this for your workforce, check the Performance Institute website for the upcoming Operational Change Management Week, as well as our dates for other courses that will help you with performance management. Thanks for your time and have a good day.